myself free to leave the Senate at this time for nearly 2 months at this critical period. However, were I free to engage in one of these efforts, it would not be as a trade-out favorite son candidate from Texas, because I feel that our state has been traded out too many times in the past. The spectacle of a handful of governors attempting to swap the presidency around creates a sorry picture of American democracy. I believe Texas should have presidential primaries where every voter has an opportunity to vote for the candidate of his choice. Since we do not have presidential primaries, the next best alternative, one open to the people of Texas under the law as it is now written, is open, unrigged conventions without a favorite son ploy, with an uninstructed delegation, and with no unit rule. The unit rule sacks up delegates like potatoes for the market.
It gives tremendous arbitrary powers to the Secretary of Labor in determining what is hazardous and what is not. And it makes him practically judge and jury as to whether or not those so-called hazardous jobs are really there. Now, Texas has done an excellent job, the legislature of Texas, in building and in writing a code, and I think that it can best be administered at the state level rather than at the federal level.
That change will come the middle of next month when the Dallas Police Department puts into effect its Storefront Program. The Storefront Program is so called because the police department hopes to rent 4 stores scattered around Dallas, and each of these at least one police officer who will act as a general troubleshooter and law enforcement officer in the neighborhood. I talked to Chief Charles Batchelor and the head of the Storefront Program, Lieutenant Paul Townsend, about what they expect to accomplish.
We like to think of them as citizen service centers where we can serve the individual citizen with his individual problem. These will be manned with 2 officers each. The officers will not only be in the offices of these centers to serve the people that come in, but they will also go about the community and make themselves known that their services are available.
These officers, although basically they're police, they're more inclined towards service in these centers. If a person has some need for service, whether it be with a city department or whether it be an outside agency, then we intend to try to help them.
Chief, you have plans later for expanding this program, is that right?
Yes, we look upon this right at the moment as a pilot project with 4 centers. However, there are many areas of the city of all levels of society who have need for police services, and if these are well received, we hope to expand them into other areas of the city later on.
The nearest to Dallas this program has been tried before is in St. Louis, but officials here are certainly hoping for good results. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News, the Dallas Police Department.
The first is the business of taking precautions, of using force to prevent anybody else from getting out of line. You can overdo this and overdo it to such an extent that you yourself, like the cop who starts a riot by his presence, you yourself become a force for instability in the world. So you have to moderate that, and I must say that I think our policy has overemphasized the use of force and the whole business of balance of power. I don't mean to say there's nothing in it, but I think the days of the acute danger of the Cold War are past. And so now we go to the second line. Now the second question is a question of strengthening the moderate tendencies in countries around the world. My own view is that in most of the big countries around the world, the countries that count, moderate opinion is the dominant opinion, and the right kind of political leader would tap that opinion and would find in it a tremendous force for building world peace.
Sheriff Lon Evans said today that the nude body found at 4 p.m. yesterday floating in Eagle Mountain Lake is definitely that of Robert Allen Lesh, age 37, who had disappeared from his Hearst trailer home early March 3rd. Fingerprints confirmed what officers had suspected. Sheriff's Deputy Earl Brown said Lesh was the victim of a gangland type of slaying. One of Lesh's feet was forced through a concrete block, and both his hands were inserted through another concrete block. Hands and feet were tied with window weight chains. Medical examiners said bullet wounds were found in the chest, side, and head of the body. 2 men discovered the body near Pelican Island in about 2 feet of water and notified the lake custodian. Estimates were that the body had been in the lake from 2 to 4 weeks. Bugging and photographic equipment found in Lesh's trailer, plus previous arrests for minor offenses, started rumors that Lesh may have been involved in a blackmail ring extending from Arizona to Florida. Well, District Attorney Frank Coffey, when contacted by Channel 8, quickly denied any such allegations. Bob Gooding, outside the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office in Fort Worth for Channel 8 News.
Our state has reached the age and strength of maturity, but its politics are still colonial in nature. In this year of 1968, we should welcome freedom into the Democratic Conventions of Texas, from the precinct to the statewide convention. This is the year to establish the honor of Texas in conventions. This is the year for every Texan to go to his precinct convention and vote for the honor of Texas. Only by open conventions, with unpledged delegates, and with the shackles of the unit rule removed, can the Texas delegation to the National Convention command the respect of all Texans and all Americans.